Let's see. So today is not really any like specific agenda. I just wanted to kind of check in with everyone, see if everyone is surviving the big 1.7.20 update. Um, like if anyone's, I don't know, trying to update mods or anything like that, running into problems or things are working okay or any crashing or anything like that.
So, what are we going to talk about today?
Oops, I already played that one. I'm not used to this little like playing stuff thing. Don't forget to thank you for the reminder. But yeah, you can see up the top here, I believe. Oh no, that's Discord. These two icons are suspiciously similar, just little circles. But this one means I'm recording. Hooray. I still can't believe I did that. So yeah, so this week for me has just been a lot of. This always happens like after I do a big release. It's just kind of like, oh, it's done. Hooray. I'm going to just push this out onto the store, upload it to Google Play and Amazon and all that. And then it's like, ah, I'm done. And then like 30 minutes later, it's like bug reports and things start coming in. So I was like, ah, I'm not done. So this week's been a lot of kind of scrambling to try to fix little things that break. And so you probably all saw there is, so 1720 went out the door. And then a day or two later, 1721. So if you haven't grabbed that one, I would suggest grabbing that. Just get the update from Google Play, or if you're running test builds, grab it from the test builds. The big thing there is I cleaned up some stuff with plugins. So if you check out the change log, there's a bunch of weird little things having to do with plugins. So it's a decent amount of changes just in that little build, but fixing a lot of things. There's been some changes lately with plugins, kind of how they work. So which is kind of cool. Some cool stuff. If you go to settings, advanced, I don't think I have any turned on right now, but you can now filter by if you want to see like all your plugins or the ones that are enabled or disabled. So that works. And also they should show up like if you have a plugin that is broken, like if it's got some bad Python code, it'll show up as red. And it should give you like a clearer error code. It mentions it here somewhere, but if you have a plugin that needs to be updated for 1720, so API 8 as it is, it'll tell you that. It'll be like, you have like foo.py and 2 other plugins need to be updated for API 8. So I'm hopeful that will lead to a little bit less confusion, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who, have a bunch of old plugins that are just broken, and when it gave that like cryptic error message, like there are errors in your plugin, like a lot of people didn't know what that meant. So hopefully it'll be a little clearer now, like what needs to happen and what needs to get updated and things like that. So it's a wonderful, wonderful movie cast. Um, myself and Kronk. Well, I guess I technically was Kronk in the sound, so that works. Am I hiring? No, not hiring. I'm keeping, as I mentioned before, I'm trying to keep this as just like my own thing for now, along with whoever wants to work on it with the open source stuff and on GitHub and all that. Um, I'll let you all know if I am hiring at some point. But yeah, not at the moment. Part of that would be you know I need to get to the game to a point where it's like paying for all the servers I'm running and stuff too. So I know I mentioned this a few times, but it's in an interesting place where I'm like spinning up all these servers and they're very expensive, and so I need to like get the game a bit more, bringing in a bit more money. So hopefully that won't be too annoying for you all folks. It probably just means I want to get some more like skins and things people can unlock and stuff like that. But I need to get it to the point where I can keep all those servers running, because it's really cool running all those servers. So I want to stay that way. But yeah, if it gets to the point where if it's bringing in enough to run all those servers, and then if at some point it's bringing in more than that, maybe I could consider hiring people or something. But yeah, we'll see. But I might kind of I kind of like keeping it small too. It's fun to have a game where it's more about just like doing it for fun and not worrying about money as much. As long as I have enough money to pay my bills, I'm happy. Official multiplayer servers. Yes, a lot of. If you go into gather, yeah, if you go into the public party list, like a lot of these that you see, like FFA, US West C, these ones with the boring names, teams at US West 1, teams at US West 2, all those are my servers. So I'm running, I don't know how many I'm running, quite a few. As I just mentioned, like they're expensive, but I'm running a lot of servers all over the place. So anytime you see the ones with the boring names, those are just doing like the standard playlists. And yeah, those are all official. I know some people like name their servers with similar names, so sometimes you can't tell when it's my server and when it's not. Maybe I should do like a little like official star or something like that. But yeah, a lot of these are official.
I have one question, sir.
Yes, yes.
Did you do your my new cast?
Did what?
Did you do your my new cast?
I still didn't understand that. You have to type out what you said there. Considering a what? Train course? Um, how long have I been working on Bomb Squad? Let's see. So I started. Apologize if any of you have heard this story, but I started to write Bomb Squad as kind of for fun when I was in college. Actually, right as I was like graduating from college. I went to art school specifically, but I spent all my free time coding, which was kind of weird. Um, but I started Bomb Squad as kind of a hobby after about, like I said, about as I was graduating, when I was looking for work and stuff like that. Bomb Squad was kind of my backup hobby. So that was a long time ago. At this point, I'm getting old, but yeah, it was. I spent maybe a few months on it, just making. Originally, it was like, oh, I'm gonna make like a Bomberman kind of game. Originally it was like a weekend project, and then I had fun working on it, so I kind of extended out, and then it just became something I played with my friends off and on. Um, so for years, I didn't even like think about releasing it or actually, selling it or anything like that. It was just something that I played with my friends, and I'd forget about it for months at a time, and then I'd come back like a year later and work on it a little more and stuff like that. So, yeah, I've been working on Bomb Squad since then. That was like 2005, yeah, about 2005 I think is when the early versions of Bomb Squad happened. So, way back in the day. Um, but I've been doing it as like a job, like full time. I've been doing it only since. Well, I worked at Pixar for almost 10 years, and then I left Pixar to do the game stuff full time. So that was about 2013. So it's been almost 10 years that I've been doing games full time. Part of that I was working with friends of mine, so we were doing like Zombie Gunship and some other games, um, but part of that I've just been doing Bomb Squad full time. So yeah, it's been a long time. It is kind of weird. You hear about some indie game developers that they put out like 5 games every year or something like that, just kind of little clean, cool games. But then there's other game developers that spend like 10 years working on one game. So I guess I'm closer to that other extreme. Except you hear some that are like they're working on a game for 10 years without releasing it. And to me that's scary because it's like, if you're burning through your savings and you're working on this game and you don't know if it's going to be successful, like that's a big risk. But for me it's like Bomb Squad has been successful, so it's more just like I'm like continuing to work on it. So it's less risky. Um, so I salute people that like take those big risks, but it's also scary too. Because games industry is hard. It's I'm sure there's a certain amount of luck. I mean, your game has to like people have to like your game, but it's also I think probably a decent amount of luck and stuff too, just to like get noticed and things like that. So it's a little bit scary when you hear about people that are like investing their whole life savings into making a game and they have no idea if it's gonna work out. So I wouldn't encourage people to do that. I mean, if that's people want to take a leap of faith and go for it, great. But like I said, for me, what worked well was having it as be like a hobby, just something that I was working on for fun and playing with my friends. And then at some point, my friends convinced me to put it out on like the Mac App Store and see how it did, and it did quite well. And so it kind of like slowly transitioned from a hobby into like something that was a job for me. Um, but it seemed like a little bit more of like a safe way to go. Oh, what do you think of movie cast? Movie cast is lovely. If you can come up with $20 million to hire those folks, then we could certainly make that. Um, but, just to check the couch cushions kind of thing. Um, I mean, I'm interested in the same way I'd be interested in like owning a castle or something, but like I don't think either of those would probably be realistic. it's one of those things where you never know. It's like Angry Birds. There was an Angry Birds movie, and that started as probably a little game someone made. So it's like you never know. Something could turn into a movie eventually, but I feel like planning a movie for something like that, I don't think they wrote the script for the Angry Birds movie before they finished the Angry Birds game, I guess is what I'm saying. So it's fun to joke about and muse over, but it's not something, I would be realistically thinking about. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, will you ever release Bomb Squad on the Quest, Quest 2, Quest 3, or other quests? I hope so. I This was actually on my to-do list to revisit the other versions of the game that are out of date, which is like the Mac App Store version. If you go to, if you have a Mac and you go to the Mac App Store, you'll find a very outdated version of Bomb Squad, which I need to update. So if you're playing Bomb Squad on a Mac, get it from the ballistica.net downloads page. But also, there's the Oculus Rift version of the game, which is a VR version. So I spent a lot of time like converting the game into VR a few years ago. Oculus actually approached me about it when they were making the Gear VR, which was super cool. So I got some cool like Gear VR test hardware before it was released and stuff like that, and got to like get the game working in VR. So I released it on the Gear VR store and also on the Oculus Rift store, which is like their PC store. But that's kind of like, I feel like they're kind of spinning that down because the Quest is like more where they're focusing their energy. So I still need to like adapt it for the Quest. So I need to update it to like, for the Quest controllers and things like that. Which I'd love to do. I'm actually a little curious, like if they would want it on the store, because I know with Gear VR they were like accepting everything, and like the Oculus Go, which is kind of the same thing as Gear VR was. It was like the simpler version where it didn't have like full body tracking and stuff, or at least like position tracking. But I know for the Quest they've been a little bit more particular about like what titles they accept. So I'm curious if they would want Bomb Squad on there, because it's not really like it's not really a VR game. It's more it's more a 2D game, but it's still cool to play it in VR because it just looks like you're playing it on like a tabletop. It's neat to like be able to move around and like see the stuff. But yeah, I'd love to do that port. It probably wouldn't take me too long. It's just one of those things where like I need to find like a week to devote to that. And so I keep wanting to like stay focused on 1.8 and all this other stuff. So it's hard to know like where to focus on things. Yeah, the Alibaba skin. The story behind that is there was a version of Bomb Squad released for a TV box, a TV set, like a Fire TV or Android TV sort of thing, except in China. And Alibaba was they kind of owned that, and so part of they had a request to add their little mascot character. So I did that for the version in China, that particular version. But it was easier just to add it everywhere. But I don't, for compatibility, so versions would be able to play against each other. But I'm not like selling that in most versions of the game. It's just like it's there, so it's compatible with that one Chinese version. But I should probably check, and maybe I should remove that at some point. But if you hack the game, or if you find the tricky way to unlock that character, that is in there. Burr, 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 burr. More clay maps. I certainly hope so. So, I'm surprised we haven't seen Roadmap Bird yet. But basically, the big part of 1.8, now that all these changes are done, which I apologize for all the API changes, switching up to API 8, that is part of the 1.8, the process of getting into 1.8. And 1.8 is going to be all about, one of the big features is downloadable assets and things like that. So as part of that, like I want to make some new downloadable stuff, like new maps, new characters, things like that as part of 1.8. So stay tuned for that, but that's definitely something. It's been a long time since I've added any new things, and I apologize for that. But part of that is just because I wanted to make it technically easier to do that. So stay tuned for announcements like that. And as part of that, yeah, I'd like to once that process kind of starts to come together, I would like to make like an official tutorial for doing things like maps, because I'd love for people to do that. That would be super cool. And as a kind of a preview, not really a preview, but that will be under like if you go to the ballistica.net, like there's some modding tools and things here that will be under asset packages. Right now, there's nothing here, but there will be. So this will be something that will let you kind of build maps or characters or whatever textures and models and stuff you want to use, and you'll be able to kind of just upload them to the cloud, and then anyone will be able to play those. With limitations, we'll have to see how that works in terms of anyone. It might be like maybe you have to get them approved or something before they're available to like the entire game, or we'll have to see. I just want to. I think I mentioned I wanted to just be careful and make sure we don't have like copyrighted stuff out there, and then suddenly I'm getting phone calls from Disney lawyers or who knows. But yeah, secret unlockable stuff is cool. The neat thing is with the asset downloads, that might be even easier because that stuff won't have to be included with the game, so people won't necessarily be able to go through and like see what textures there are and like, oh, look at this texture, this must be in here somewhere. It'll just be like magic. Just like you get some new character that just like appears that no one's ever seen before. Cool. I'm gonna vote for the right one, but it's close. Made a UI for headless. Can you explain that? Like what? How do you have a UI for headless? Is it like telepathic? Like, or like a is it like a command line based thing? Some sort of web page. Oh, that's awesome. Cool. Do you have a link, or can you demo it or something, or just point? We can point people to that. Cool. Let's check it out. I'm a lazy server owner. Dang. That's awesome. Oh, it's even got the cool like menu icon that turns into a cross. I love it. Dang, that's a long. Maybe I'll not watch the whole video, but yeah, everyone check out the link. That is an in-depth video. Very cool. Oh, that's awesome. I always love seeing like web UIs and things like on a phone. For some reason, that just seems like very futuristic. Like, yeah, I'm going to control my web server with my phone. So yeah, awesome stuff. Yeah, I guess people have feelings on opinions on colors. I like sort of saturated. You can see my my Discord theme here. It's got some sort of saturated purples at the bottom. I love purple, by the way, if you haven't noticed from the game. Purples and greens. Oh, love them. Maybe you can do like a theme switcher for the UI. But yeah, no, that's super awesome. Does that work with the latest stuff, like 1720, or did I break everything too much? Yeah, there's one Discord theme. Oh, 1719? Oh, okay. Well, that's all right. Again, yeah, if anyone doesn't know, like if you have a bunch of mods, you're like heavily invested in all that stuff, like it might be worth like not updating to 1720 yet. Um, just give it a little time for the bugs to work out, or the mods to get updated, things like that. So, there's no like must-have features yet. You don't gain anything by going to 1720. It's more just like preparing everything for the features that will be coming in 1.8. So it's not, I'm looking forward to adding cool features that will make people want to update, but so far it's not. It's mostly just like groundwork and reorganization and things like that. Yeah, so I do feel a little pressure to like get those cool features in there though, so then people will feel like updating their mods. It was like that similar. It was sort of a similar situation with Python itself. I don't know if many of you remember, but Python for a long time there was Python 2 and Python 3, and Python 3 like broke a lot of stuff because it changed things like the string objects were different. They used to be bytes objects, and like all strings were Unicode or certain things like that. Or the print used to be like a statement with no parentheses, and now it switched to like a function, so it does have parentheses. So anyway, a lot of people didn't upgrade to Python 3 because it just meant like a lot of work and they wouldn't really gain anything. But eventually, like Python 3 started adding more cool features and stuff like that. And so finally the world switched over. But for a long time, it was this weird thing where like Python 3.4 was out and it was still like most of the world was using Python 2.7 or something. So yeah, I don't want that to happen with 1.7.20. So I will try to get some cool features added very soon. And actually one of them, on that note, just to show what I'm up to, one should be coming soon, which is kind of like better tie-ins with if you're editing code on like the workspace editor and things like that. It should start to be able to kind of like run code checks and things like that for you against like the 1.7.20 API. So it'll help you. I showed a demo for this a few weeks ago, like running MyPy on your code to kind of help you update things and see what's wrong and whatever. But I'm hopeful that very soon, if you have workspaces, if you're using this stuff, like that'll just happen automatically for you. So you'll just be able to, in the editor here, you'll just see a little like red dot or something if you have code errors, and you can check that out and see like, oh, hey, I'm using a function that doesn't exist anymore. So I'm hoping that'll make it a lot easier to write mods and keep them working and stuff. Also on that note, I just added this super awesome little drop-down menu thing here for the code editor. I added this yesterday, doing a little fun web stuff. There's literally only one command in this so far, but there will be more stuff. But that is kind of cool. This shows you like the editor palette for. I'm using what's called Ace, the text editor, the Ace text editor. It's a nice little simple one, but it has a bunch of cool stuff. Like you can, if you want to get fancy, show the settings menu, and there's a bunch of stuff you can mess with. Play with your editor font sizes, or turn off some other useful stuff. You can turn off like the gutter if you're like editing on a phone and you don't need to see like line numbers and stuff like that. So some handy little things. I also added a menu to if you're wanting to do live coding, come in here, do devices. If so, connect to your device to get the little console here. There's now a menu here, so you can, it's just stuff that you had to type before. So you can clear the output, print output, or again, bring up the little editor here. But yeah, I do plan to add, I didn't really have any place to put these because I was trying to keep this UI like as simple as possible with just like a single button. But now there's this little extra spillover area. So if you can think of little bits of functionality that would be useful to have in either like the Cloud Console or in the workspace editor, like let me know and we can add stuff. Oh yeah, we could do an explicit like dark mode, light mode, if that would be useful. Because yeah, not all browsers have that. And I actually just, it's super annoying. There's a bug, I think it's in Safari. It doesn't seem to happen on other browsers, but if I come in here to a workspace, this wasn't happening like a month ago, I swear. But if I come edit a workspace, and now, if I show the web inspector, on Safari you can like simulate dark mode. So if I switch to dark mode, boink, cool, dark mode, yay, the editor switched. But then if I switch back to light mode, uh-oh, it's broken until you click, and then it's fixed. So I think that's a Safari bug. That doesn't happen in Chrome or Firefox, but it's super annoying. So if you see, if your machine switches from light to dark mode and it looks broken and you're running a Mac, just tap. I'll try to see if, I don't know if I should submit a bug report to Apple or something. I never know whether to submit bug reports because it takes a bit of time, and it kind of feels like most of the time they just disappear into the void, but there's always the chance that someone would see it, like someone working on Safari would get that fixed. Or maybe it's a problem with Ace. Maybe Ace needs to fix something. But the fact that it works in Firefox and Chrome kind of tells me that maybe it's a Safari thing. What? That's what we need, is awesome fire effects. Like in the game. That's not like running in game, is it? Like someone, I assume that's just like an effect someone did in like After Effects. Or is all this? What's happening? What's going on here? Is Agent Johnson playing the violin? And now he's swimming. All these videos. It's like, I don't need to do drugs. I have these videos. Hi, Mel. Well, that's super cool. I'm gonna go ahead and stop though. But yeah, everyone check that out. Let's see though. I love these like amazing videos people make. But yeah, it is super cool. I'm curious like how they did that with, you know, all the custom animations and stuff like that. It's Progeros bug. I have not heard of the Progeros bug. Could you explain what that is? Maybe you already did. I'm always like 2 pages behind here in reading. When the game went global, were you scared of hackers? Wasn't really scared of them. I've told this story though, where like I didn't know what to expect, and like when the game did go global, or when I was, you know, initially put it out on Google Play, and I knew they were gonna like give me a feature spot, so I figured it was gonna get a lot of attention, and it did. Like, you know, bajillions of downloads in the first week or two. Yeah, I was a bit surprised I didn't put like protection in there, or I didn't put like server verification in the purchases. So if you bought like a, you know, a $20 ticket pack, it would just like trust you, or, you know, it wouldn't like verify with my server. And so I was like checking all these stats, and I was seeing like so many people like buying $20 ticket packs and stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I'm gonna retire to a desert island, or you know, something like that. But it turns out like 90% of that, or like 99% of that, was like people hacking purchases and stuff. So I learned very quickly that you really have to do like server verification to like check with Google to be like, hey, did this person actually buy this thing? Otherwise, it's like a total free for all. So it wasn't a being afraid of hackers. It was just like realizing that like hackers and cracks and things like that are a lot more common than I had assumed initially. And same with tournaments and things like that. Like I would not have designed tournaments how they were if I knew, you know, how easy it would be, or how many people would be hacking them and stuff like that. Because that's been a bit annoying, like having to constantly put, you know, try to do, you know, hacker detection, stuff like that. Or, you know, I physically don't have time to like look through scores and replays and things like that and try to kind of determine like, does it look like this person's hacking? So yeah, all that has been a bit of a bummer. In a way, it's kind of fun though. It's a little bit like a cat and mouse game, like trying to see like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing, and trying to like prevent people from exploiting the game. But it is also like, it's not probably the best way I should be spending my time. So that's why, as someone was mentioning in office hours chat, or this was mentioned recently, it's like it'd be one big goal is to try and get all tournaments running on my cloud servers, because then I can mostly control the environment, and, you know, at least like blatant hacks, like people just modifying their memory to change their score into 99999, you know, that stuff should no longer be possible unless they like completely hack my servers and stuff. And at that point, it's like, I salute you, good job. But hopefully hopefully I can prevent that happening. At some point, It is interesting. It's like where the world is getting to, though. At some point, I'm sure there will be, an AI based hack where it's just, some AI that's been trained on like watching video of the game or something that can play the game better than a human can. And so it's like, at that point, I have no idea what we'll do, but hopefully that won't happen for a while. Or there's some way we'll have some captcha thing, like some way. I don't know if there's some way you could do that where you could like look at input and try to require it to do something that only a human would know how to do or something like that. But again, that's a lot easier. Maybe not easier, but a lot more of a obscure problem than just people hacking their local devices to change numbers. So anyway, enough on hacking. I always come back. It's a bug I saw in the game. It pops up Praja Rust bug. Like it literally just says that. Like it prints it on the screen, or sure. Like when do you see that on certain servers, or do you see it when you're playing locally or something? If it's something you see in like a vanilla build of the game, then definitely I want to track it down. But if it's something you see on like a server or something, that could be their weird server code, or who knows what they're doing. Local. Okay, if you can send me like a screenshot or show me how to reproduce it or something. That's always the biggest thing with bugs is like I love to fix them, and prevent them and things like that. But in order to do that, like I need to be able to reproduce it. So that's always like if you can send a video or just like a step by step, like how to make this happen, or how to make this likely to happen. That is always useful, or at least like what it is printing when it happens or whatever, because then I can search for like that text string in my source code or whatever. Debugging is fun. it's I mean, it's fun and it's not fun, but it's interesting writing a game like this where like so many people are playing it out there. And I get like kind of bug reports, like little things like I can have the scripts inform me when something happens, like an exception occurs in Python and like my code. I can have it inform me, but then it's like a crime scene. It's like trying to. I just get a little report of like, oh, this exception happened here in this code, and then it's like, why did that happen? So it's like trying to track down like what could have caused that exception. Stuff like that it can be tricky. Especially when it's some code running out on some machine thousands of miles away, and like you have no idea what led up to that point, stuff like that. Oh yeah, till fixing the bug causes another bug. That's always the case. Well, not always the case, but it's like with these updates lately, the 1.720 updates. It's like I knew that was going to cause a lot of bugs and things, and it did. Like if you saw the first test build of 1.720, it was just like so many bugs. Um, but there were a lot of changes in 1.720, like cleaning things up and making things more maintainable. So it's like it's kind of a trade-off where it's better for the game in the long run, and it's going to put it in a better place, and things should be more easier to keep them working going forward. But like doing that, making those changes also breaks a lot of stuff. I'm sure you've all run into that with mods and things. It's like you refactor something to be way way better code, but then like by doing that, you're probably adding 10 bugs or something that you have to track down. It's just the nature of it, I think, to a degree. It's just like there's always going to be bugs and things like that. You just have to kind of chug through them, eventually get rid of them all. Just add a bug.bob file. The model is just a 3D test. Ah. At this point, actually, 1.720 is decently stable, or not decently stable. It's just as stable as 1.719, or possibly more. Um, I have one place I look at bugs. Hopefully, this isn't divulging any sensitive info. But yeah, right now, crash-free users, 99.73 of users are crash-free, which is good. I'd prefer to be at like 99.9. That's a fun number. But if we check out 1.7.21 by itself, 99.81. See, so it's higher than usual. Though today it's at 99.79, so maybe more people are crashing today. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm curious if this is like an Android thing or just a software thing because I don't have an iOS version, so I can't compare. But there's always like a smattering of random looking crashes. So there's like 20 or 30. I mean, there's tons of the copies of the game out there, so this is only affecting a small sliver of people. But there's all these like random crashes, like this one, some billing API thing. So that's probably like something with Google. There's some OpenGL thing, so that's probably like with the device driver. There's DL open failed. Like in this case, it actually couldn't find like part of the app. So who knows what happened there? Like maybe someone's device is flawed. Like they can't actually access their file system or. So it's weird. It's hard to know. Like obviously, if there's a bug in here where it's like 500 users are crashing in the exact same place, and that's in my code, like that's clearly something I can fix. But sometimes it's just like these totally random little ones that happen to like 3 people, and it's like, eh. So anyway, the nature of debugging, you fix what you can, but you can't fix everything. Because like I said, some of it is just literally like devices malfunctioning and stuff, I think, or weird little flaws happening in Google's stuff or whatever. But I feel like to do software, you have to be a little like OCD and you have to like want to fix every little thing, and it seems like it's basically just impossible. There's always going to be some device that has some weird old broken version of Android where like some particular thing is crashing, and it's like you can't make it run flawlessly on absolutely everything. But yeah, there is the possibility when you fix a bug, you may make more. But I don't know. My own philosophy for myself is like when I fix a bug, I usually try to put some like test in there or like something where it will watch out for that sort of thing happening again, and like it'll log a message if it does, or just trying to like harden things, trying to make it so it's gonna if whatever caused that bug happens again, like it will let me know. Oh. Yeah, you can always tell when I'm trying to debug something because my commit messages get like less and less meaningful. It's more just like like at some point they'll become like more like dang it. Like why isn't this working? Does this show that bug? Did I miss it? Oh no. I probably missed it. In the corner at the end? All right, I'm looking for a bug. Can you point out the exact second or is anyone seeing the bug? Where is the bug? Is this like the Emperor's New Clothes thing where everyone's like, "Yeah, I see the bug," but there's actually no bug? This is some sort of hoax. It was at the end. Where at the end? The bomb disappeared, but that's normal, right? It goes out of bounds or something, so it disappears. Um, is it that? Like, what is that little thing up there? looks like some Android UI or something. Something at the... All right, if anyone finds the bug, holler. But yeah, or if you can get a recording of the bug, if this bug exists and is not an elaborate hoax. Yeah, Mr. Funny, do you have any tips for us? All right. Well, apparently there's a bug. Yes. It's like drunk face. Or extremely unimpressed face. Something like that. Oh, what did I think of PewDiePie playing my game? Here, oh yeah, this is a fun old video if you haven't seen it. At the time, actually, I I actually didn't know who PewDiePie was at the time, so that was, I learned very quick who PewDiePie was. Ah, the UI looked a little simpler back then. But yeah, I remember, I don't remember like what sort of server stuff it had at the point, but yeah, there was one day where like my downloads for, I think on the Mac App Store, it was only I think on the Mac App Store and on the Ouya at the time. So it, my downloads went like so crazy for like 3 hours or something, and I was like, what the heck is going on? And someone's like, dude, PewDiePie like played your game. And I was like, what's a PewDiePie? So if I, that was before it was out on like Android or any like really big platforms. So there wasn't, you know, most people couldn't even download it. This was like the Ouya. For anyone who doesn't know, the Ouya is a little Android-based game console, which I will show you, which was a big Kickstarter project back in 2013. This little thing here. So I still got it. Ouya. What's a PewDiePie? So that would have been 20. I don't know when that was. 9 years ago. Oh my gosh, that is time flies. But yeah, if the game were out on like, you know, Steam or Android or a big platform when that happened, I'm sure that would have been a nice a nice boost. As it was, I mean, it was a little bit of a boost for like 3 hours or something, and it was super cool that you know, that he played it. Well, yeah, Ouya's been dead for quite a while. What happened here? I'm curious the story behind this little icon. Was someone messing with the code, or did that like glitch out somehow? Or yeah, I guess it could be a photo edit. It looks, I mean, to me, it almost looks like the mesh in game got messed up or something like that. But yeah, maybe it's just a photo edit. Megamind Spaz. We should make that a downloadable character. Just big head Spaz. I remember growing up, like the original NBA Jam in the arcade. That was like a super cool game. Everyone loved it. But yeah, there was like big head mode. That was like a big unlock everyone was excited about. Megamind Spaz crossover. Yes. Is Mr. Funny trolling us? He might be trolling us. This is an elaborate hoax. We're gonna need a little evidence. Chat filters. So it is currently, like, if you're a server owner, you can add chat filters. I don't remember if there's a wiki page on it. or something right now, but it is possible. It's kind of janky, but it's possible. Um, I'm spending most of my time right now trying to get squads mode up and running, and squads mode will not have rando chat by default. That's the plan. There'll be emotes or something like that where you can, vent your frustration or your happiness or whatever. But my thought is that you shouldn't be able to just chat with random people unless they, opt in or something like that. So it'll just be like chat will be reserved for your team members or your party, or your squad. I want to use the term squad for like the new system, and party is like the old system. I know it's kind of like confusing, but yeah, hooks.py. There's a chat filter function exactly. Um, so if you're writing a server, or if you're modding a server, you can add filters there. There's probably plugins or things like that that people have written maybe that kind of wrangle that, but it shouldn't be too hard to do that yourself too. It's tricky though. I mean, the best one would be like to use Chat GPT or something like that. Like send every message through Chat GPT and be like, "Is this offensive?" And like that would be an interesting thing. It would delay chats by a bit though. Do I even play my game? Not enough lately, but I do like playing it. Most of my playing it has been like with friends playing local multiplayer though. I mentioned this before, but I still part of this is just I feel like a lot of people we hear about like actors that don't like to watch their own movies and things like that because they're like very critical of their own performances or whatever. I feel that way with playing online games like or online multiplayer because I see the lag and anytime it glitches or anything like that I'm just like it just like pains me. So I want that's a big goal of mine is to get to a point where I feel comfortable playing online multiplayer and I like if it lags or something I'll be like okay that was there's nothing I could do about that. That was just the internet. But right now, I feel like there is something I could do about it. Like I could get client prediction going, or just reduce the bandwidth. Like I feel like the game is not performing as well as it could, and so generally playing online makes me sad. But yeah, I will. I wanna play online more. As I said, also when I wrote the game, I was in college, so I generally would be hanging out with larger groups of friends more and things like that. And so it was easier to get big, like 8-player games going, at the big TV and things like that. We'd have kind of Halo parties and just hanging out with big groups of friends. But nowadays, like, everyone's older and I don't see friends as much and, they're married and have kids and things like that. So it's much more rare to get like a big group of friends together to play games and stuff. So for that reason, I also want to get like online working better so I can, play the game more. Ever played on public servers? I jump in. I don't. Occasionally, I'll jump into a public server. I don't. It's the same thing though, where it's just like I only see the flaws and I think like, oh man, this needs to be more organized and structured, and I should be able to like join a queue and be matched against people and get points when I win and yeah, it's like I don't play too much on public servers. Occasionally, I have jumped into servers before where I get like immediately kicked out for being a noob or whatever, which is always fun. Um, but I mean, granted, I'm usually like checking the server to like test some technical thing, so I'm probably not actually, playing very well. That goes back to a joke I made a while back. Is like I should just make some sort of cheat code or like a lightning button where I can just like show people like I am he, I am the creator, you know, like smite them with a lightning bolt if they try to kick me. I've had I know I've had friends like I don't know if they were joking or not like accuse me of doing that. Like I feel like we've all had I feel like everyone has that friend they're like too competitive with games or a little more competitive than they should be. Might like rage quit occasionally or something if they lose, or if they like if you die or if they die they'll be like oh that was glitchy physics. It's always there's always like an excuse for what went wrong like oh lag death. But yeah, I used to there'd be certain friends I'd have that would get very competitive, and so if I'd kill them in the game, they'd be like, "Oh, you're hacking," or like you're using some special skill that only you have, or something like that. Just accuse me of like you know adding hacks to the game so I'd win, because that's totally what I would do. Collab with Call of Duty. I have actually. I mean, if you were here a while ago, Mickey Rog was showing something he was working on where he added like basically like a dark gun-filled version of the game. It was kind of funny. Um, so it would be interesting to like play with different weapon styles, just like yeah, little like laser guns or or just like one weapon that was just like some sort of blaster thing, super inaccurate, just like shot stuff. But it'd be interesting to see like what style of gameplay you could come up with if you focused on different weapon types or something besides just bombs. So that's something I want to I'd love to experiment with because I feel like there's a lot of fun gameplay you could come up with. Is just little dudes running around with various different types of weaponry. Um, you could just have different styles of play. Have the standard like bomb-based gameplay, but then what if everyone had like a sword or something? I don't know. It's just crazy physicsy like sword fighting or a club or something, or just firearms, or I don't know. Who knows? It'd be fun to play with. Call a bomb up squad. But yeah, something like that, like a single, like maybe just a single like gun power up or something like that, or maybe it only had like one shot or something. Just some little bit of flair you could add in. That'd be cool. Bomb squad clay warfare, or it would be cool like just a version of the characters all like realistic looking and Call of Duty ish or something. Just a different style. But yeah, I'm hoping with the like I said, the asset pack stuff, asset packages that'll be coming up in 1.8. Hopefully, we'll be able to a lot of the crazy stuff people do with different styled characters or just different styled environments or just their own environments or whatever. We'll be able to kind of more easily share those with people. So that'll be fun. So yeah, my plans for this week are to well, of course, if more bugs or anything like that come up with 1.7.20 or 1.7.22 at this point, fix those, of course. But also, yeah, I'll be working on the upgrade to like workspaces to be able to like do testing and things like that. Test your code to make sure, or run MyPy on your code automatically, just like tell you what needs to be fixed, things like that. And then at some point, um, I'll be adding like more functionality to workspaces where like if you have a workspace that has mini games in it or something like that, you'll just be able to kind of use that to serve games or something like that. Basically be able to kind of write mini games on your workspace and then anyone playing online can use those. Essentially that's the goal. Asset packages will be released at some point before 1.8. Those are going to be kind of a key point of 1.8, and I've gotten them working. Like they are functional myself. You currently have to use them through the command line. I mean, I think they're disabled even on the command line right now, but if you're not aware, there is under tools, if you go into the Ballistica repo, there is BA Cloud, which is basically just a little command line interface to like the Ballistica Cloud stuff. And so for me right now, I can use BA Cloud to like create and manage asset packages, but most people will probably use the web UI. That's probably simpler. But basically the idea is you'll just kind of define a little package of stuff. Let me see if I have an example. Oh, I had an asset package, a test asset package I was making, and I called it A. Oh, here it is. Okay. Here's my little test asset package. And so it'll basically be something like this, where you'll just you'll pass little bits of data, like source data, like wave files. For texture files, you'll just pass like PNGs. And essentially you'll probably just like upload these. And there's this little YAML file, which kind of explains like what's in this thing. Yeah. So this is my example one. Like I said, you probably won't have to edit something like this manually, though you can if you want. You'll probably just be doing it through like a web UI. But basically just saying like, hey, here's my asset package. Here's the stuff it contains. There's this collision mesh, this texture, blah, 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 blah. And then that'll all just get compiled for you in the cloud. And then this will spit out just like a little Python file or something that you can use to access this thing. And then basically when the game runs, it'll automatically download like the compiled version of this package that'll have like the right textures, the whatever texture formats that platform uses, whether it's, right now you have to do different texture formats if you're writing working with the Android version, or if you're working with the PC version or whatever. You won't have to worry about that anymore. You'll basically just like upload source files. So WAV files, PNG files, etc. And then the game itself will download them. So again, there will be more details coming up. I'll do like a little how-to or tutorial or whatever. And you'll probably do it through a web UI by default, which should be hopefully self-explanatory-ish. But then, that's basically all the... I'll probably backport most of the existing assets into that system. Because the cool thing about that is then we can have different like asset package flavors. Like we can have like a low res one or a high res one for like PC versions or something if everyone wants to use like super high res textures. Or they can be updated later to support like newer texture formats, things like that, where we won't have to like manually create all these different formats. It'll just like happen magically in the cloud. You'll still probably be able to do it manually if you want, but that won't be necessary for most people. But yeah, that is this question is very important. Like how to, I'm kind of thinking there'll be some sort of like whitelist system or something. Like maybe if you create asset packages, you can use them yourself and maybe like distribute codes to your friends or people that you want to play with or something like that. Or maybe there'll be some sort of like some limitations on who can automatically download those. But then like if you get them approved, or we have some sort of moderation system where like people see that they're okay, then maybe everyone can use them. But yeah, I want to avoid obviously like NSFW content or stuff that's clearly copyrighted stuff that's gonna get lawyers calling me and things like that. Obviously don't want to spend my time talking to lawyers. I'd rather spend my time making fun games. So yeah, I'll have to figure that out. So that part's a little bit scary, the whole like opening the floodgates to anyone throwing anything up here. But my thought is, as long as it's something, maybe like a whitelist based system where everything is limited by default. But if we see stuff that's super cool and is legal and safe for work, then we can like enable those. I kind of like in a way, I like the idea of like having curated stuff anyway, where it's like I can kind of enforce, if something's going to be visible to everyone in the game, I'd kind of like it to be like high quality, or fit in with the style of the game, things like that. So I'd kind of like to reserve the right to make the final call on stuff like that. But we'll have to see. I mean, maybe we can have like a moderation system where people that are moderators on here can approve stuff, or who knows. I just want it to be something that's not going to get into trouble. So if any of you have ideas on that kind of stuff, like user generated content, if there's other games that do it well with like community moderation, like any ideas like that, I am open to ideas. Because then I know I'm a bottleneck. Like I can only look through so much stuff, or approve stuff. That's kind of like I don't have time to look through like replays to try to tell if people are hacking scores. So I'm certainly not going to have time to like look through bajillions of asset packages to see if they're they seem safe for work type stuff. So yeah, if there's maybe some sort of community moderation that we can come up with, and then if I need to come in and decide a case or something like that, I could do that. Or that could be something where if that starts making, once there's enough asset downloads and things like that, if that starts making enough money for the game, I could always like hire a small team to manage that part or something. So we'll see. But I definitely want to tread carefully. I don't want to I don't want to just like throw something out there and get in over my head, you know, where suddenly there's bajillions of you know, adult content asset packages all over the place. Yeah, I do. On that note, the lobby and the bomb squad with the character you're using, I do want that. Like, that's super cool. You know, you're playing Fortnite or something like that. You kind of see, you see your squad or you see your team exactly there. I was, wow, that's just like, I mentioned it and it shows up. So yeah, I'd love to have something like this where, you know, if you have some cool skin that you got, you know, everyone would be able to see it, like just in the lobby. So that's something I'm gonna try to get into squads mode early on if possible. Just something where you know, because it should be fun. Like if you earn a cool character by doing something, or you know, build up enough to buy a cool character, you should be able to like see that or show that off in a way or whatever. Official app that modders can upload mods to the app and users. This, I mean, this is kind of trickier, and I'm not sure how to like automating the process of downloading mods. I mean, I know there are people out there that have made like mod managers and things, and I support that. And maybe I could make it easier to install mod managers. Um, like, I don't know if I'd want to have like an official mod manager because I don't know if that almost, you know, that again gets into the idea of you know, like I don't have time to go through every mod and see like what is okay. And hopefully the mod managers, I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked too closely at mod managers, but you know, there's always that danger of like if there's malicious mods, like are they going to get noticed and flagged, and you know, so it's like I don't want to make it too easy to distribute mods to other people's local devices just because that can be malicious. So I'm a little like, yeah, that's so far that's why I've left that functionality like out by default. It's like you have to kind of go find mods yourself. But maybe it would make sense to have something in there if it was safe. So the thing I'm wanting to work towards is I mentioned as part of like the whole cloud goal, you know, a big piece of the puzzle that I'll probably get working on soon is the sandbox system. So that would be basically a system where I can run Bomb Squad in a sandbox on my servers, where basically it can't do anything except serve the game. You know, it has like its only connection outside of itself is, you know, maybe a server connection to another local process which actually talks to the outside world. And so that thing, all it can do is like run Bomb Squad. It can't do anything else. It can't access files on the server. It can't download things. It can't you know, connect to the internet by itself. But once I get that in place, then we should be able to use that to like run mods safely on cloud servers is the hope. And so, yeah, at some point, I would like to get, you know, at that point, then it should be theoretically safe to run mods. And at that point, then I'd love to have, you know, a cool official system to like easily, you know, gather collections of mods. Ah, did the stage stop? Waiting for the stage to start. That was weird. It just kind of ended. All right, well, everyone's back. Welcome to WTF. Can I... No, I'm not going to try. I was going to say, can I change the top... Where does one change the topic? Yeah, that was weird. I am still recording. We can check the replay and make sure I didn't, like, click something by default or incorrectly, but I don't think I did. Oh, and I'm not even sharing my screen. Okay, that was weird. All right, everyone hears me now. I was not sharing until a second ago. Episode WTF. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. I didn't close anything. It just ended. Are there any? Does anyone know? Are there like time limits or something like that on stages? I didn't think there were. I guess this would have been just over an hour, but yeah, that's weird. Oh yeah, unless we hit a bandwidth limit or something. But two, three. I don't. We don't have that many people though. I don't. My my speech was too powerful. Sorry, I'll tone it down. All right, I'll talk a little slower. We have no technology that can handle such speech. Due to inactivity? What? That's weird. What? I wonder what constitutes activity. Like, did I not move my mouse long enough or something? Not move my head? Was I holding too still? Hmm. Yeah, no one joined, but there was like everyone was in here, and I'm streaming my desktop, and I'm moving a little bit. I would be curious. That seems like a bug. All right, I'm gonna make sure I like scroll scroll this list every 30 seconds or something now. Keep Discord from ending us. Move my mouse around. Shake the window. I don't know. What counts as active? What was I talking about a second ago? Arr. Oh, I think I was talking about kind of being able to use workspaces to host games and things like that. That's kind of a big goal. Oh, the sandbox. Yes, getting the sandbox up and running. So being able to like host mods in cloud games, like arbitrary mods that anyone submits without having to like approve them. So, so at some point there should be like a big like repository of mods people write, and we should be able to like combine them into fun servers and things like that without having to check them. But yeah, that's going to rely on the sandbox system. But I'm much more for me, that's a much more safe approach than having a mod manager that downloads a ton of mods to your local device, because that is, hopefully they're safe, but it's still like running Python code on your phone that you haven't looked at yourself. So it's like there's always a chance it's gonna do something weird, like delete all your characters or something. So if anyone is, if you're modding, installing stuff on your phone or your PC or anything else, always kind of be aware of where those mods are coming from, or try to use mod managers that at least check all the mods, or only use like well-known mods, things like that. Hopefully this wouldn't be something where people would like intentionally try to screw other people's stuff up, but I have heard of it happening. Like I think there were someone was telling me about like public servers that people were instructing them to like open telnet or something, and then they were connecting through that and like owning their device, or it's like there have been cases where security stuff has been an issue. So always be a little bit aware and careful. Plugin manager is very safe. That's good. So, and so that's something too, where it's like, yeah, if there are plugin managers, or I'm wondering if it would make sense to like have, like approved plugin managers, and then we could have like a single button to download them or something like that. Like, hey, install your favorite plugin manager. I just want to make sure that they're, only plugin managers with good reputations, or that check their code and stuff like that. Aw, thanks, guys. No, it's super cool that people play the game so much, and like especially it's been out for this long and people are still interested in it. It's like I love working on it, and I'm super happy that it makes enough money that I can keep working on it. So I plan to keep doing that. Bomb Squad 2 when? Well, so that's kind of what Bomb Squad 2.0 is. It's like I'm sort of considering it a sequel or almost like a relaunch. Because at that point it's going to switch over to basically squads mode being the default that's the plan anyway. Squads mode being default and launching on more platforms. So it should kind of feel like a sequel or like a new game. But all the classic stuff will still be included though too. So it's like don't worry about favorite mods and things like that going away. And especially with all this this hassle I'm putting everyone through with 1.7.20 and all the API changing, a big part of that is so that we can keep all the old stuff around without breaking it. So you're probably all tired of seeing how this works, but if anyone hasn't, like basically 1.7.20 organizes everything into what's called feature sets, and that's what these things are. So there's like the core feature set, the base feature set, the classic feature set, the plus feature set, Scene V1 feature set, this is all like the gameplay that we know and love. That's the Scene V1 feature set. UI V1 feature set that's all the user interface stuff that we know and love. So what this means is that making gameplay improvements and things like that in the future, that can all be Scene V2, which will be a separate feature set that will like live out alongside this stuff. So we can make more changes in Scene V2, but all the existing gameplay stuff will still work in Scene V1. So if you go into classic mode and you do the classic campaigns, all that stuff should still work for a long, long, long time. At some point in the distant future, maybe if everyone has moved on to like Scene V37 or something, maybe we'll get rid of Scene V1 or the old stuff, but not anytime soon. So I'm super happy about this just from a development perspective. This means I can like make a lot bigger changes and improvements and things like that for Scene V2 or UI V2 or whatever else comes next, without worrying about breaking things for people, because that has been kind of difficult, is like trying to improve the game but also not breaking backwards compatibility. If someone's running a super cool modded server that they built 8 years ago, like I would like to still allow that to work. so that makes it tricky to it's like balancing these two things, like wanting to evolve the game forward but also not wanting to destroy people's hard work. So anyway, yeah, that's what feature sets are all about. And that's why everyone has a little bit of a hassle updating all your mods to use these new terms. So it's like, all the new, instead of the old like single BA module or BA package in Python, now there's all these feature set packages. So there's like BA base, BA classic, BA plus, BA scene V1, BA UI V1, et cetera, et cetera. And the BA STD, the standard library, that got split out into BA scene V1 library and BA UI V1 library. So these very terribly ugly words. But also in most of the code, you'll see like for minigame code, it does like import BA scene V1 as BS. So then in the code, you can just use BS. So it's nice and kind of, at least you're not having to write like BA scene V1 lib constantly if you don't want to. There are a handful of changes in keywords and methods. Like some of the timer stuff has changed a bit. So if you are porting and you run into problems, check out the last broadcast I did a week or two ago. I think I was in San Francisco maybe last week or busy or something. But yeah, the one where I kind of went through updating a minigame, it was mostly renaming stuff, like renaming B to BA scene V1, or BA to BA scene V1. But there were a few things like with timers and stuff like that, or playing sounds, that has changed a little bit. So I would suggest if you run into any problems like that, come into under downloads. There's the changelog in here, or that's in the repo itself. I think you can just take a look at the changelog file down here. But just take a look, scan through 1.7.20 changes. I know there's a lot of them in here, but the few gameplay ones are all listed here. So the time functions and the timer functions being a little bit different. A few things got renamed. Like some of the stuff that used to be under like ba.app, that got moved to like ba.app.classic. Little things like that. There's just been some things that moved around a bit. But that's another reason why, again, if you go back and watch the thing a few weeks ago, like using MyPy is super useful. Things like MyPy and PyLint, if you can use those to like check your mods, it can save you a ton of time because it tells you exactly like what code needs to be changed. Oh geez, getting behind here. Backstories to some of the stuff in the game. Yeah, a lot of stuff. A decent amount of stuff has backstories. Like one I always bring up is everyone's favorite ninja, Snake Shadow. It's the combined name of my two favorite GI Joe ninjas growing up. If anyone knows what those would be. I'm curious. I know GI Joe is still around, kind of like but yeah, GI Joes were like my favorite toys growing up. Just little like action figure military stuff. I'm trying to think of other backstories. I I should have kept the email, but it's funny. I get little emails, or I used to. I mean, before like this Discord server, I would just get emails from people occasionally saying like, please add a whatever, and it's always like a random thing. But I think the first one I got was like, please add a bear. So I think I added Bernard the bear because of that email. I was like, yes, this game needs a bear with the tie. Oh yeah, someone noticed the Easter Bunny originally was going to be Flopsy the rabbit. Flopsy was for some reason Flopsy became the nickname of my car in high school. Like I inherited my dad's old Honda Accord for driving around in high school, and for some reason my friends like nicknamed it Flopsy, so it was Flopsy the Honda. But so I was gonna name Flopsy the Bunny in honor of my old car. But then I decided to do like an Easter update, and so I just it seemed like okay, this can just be the Easter Bunny, but it's technically Flopsy. I think that's still in like the files somewhere, like maybe the asset names or like Flopsy. So on that note, is there if you can think of like not a generic, but like a type of character, like what would everyone like to see if we add a skin or two for 1.8? Is there like a certain type of anyone have a wish list on what you'd like to play as? Alien, like a little green, like the big green eyes aliens, or like the little green men alien, or are we talking like James Cameron aliens, like scary, slimy aliens, or chipmunk? All right, chipmunk could work well. That would actually be fun. Like for the, I was thinking like the or a chipmunk or a squirrel. Well, wait, do chipmunks have the big tails, or is that just squirrels? I think chipmunks have small tails, don't they? But I was saying like a squirrel sort of character with like a big bushy tail that like did cool like tail things. It would be like Pixel's wings. Like those were kind of fun. Just making little like slight physicsy stuff happening with her wings. It'd be kind of the same thing with a tail, like making that. It'd be fun. Oh yeah, okay. So a little green alien with big. Yeah, that would be fun. Like meow, meow, meow. Like little fun alien noises. Cowboy with hat. Yeah, that would be great. Some of these are actually if you poke around the assets, there's all these. I've told this story before, but there's like these stand-in characters for meshes. Right now, they're all just copies of Spaz. But yeah, there's already an alien, so I put in these little placeholders. So like alien upper arm, alien blah blah blah. But there's no alien character. These are just like copies of Spaz. Um, but I put these in there so that if I change them to look like if I implemented the alien, I could just change these files, and then it wouldn't break the game. Like all the people running old versions of the game would already just have like the Spaz versions. So just the new versions of the game, they would see the alien. Old version, they would see Spaz. But that was just like placeholders so that I could add this stuff in the future. But now that I'm adding like the asset downloading stuff, that'll be a way better way to do it. So I won't have to worry about like adding all this stuff in advance. It'll just be like if you use a new character that's been added recently, it'll just like magically download. And yeah, that would be super awesome too. Like accessories that can be applied to the characters. Um, and for this one, like I'm curious. Like I don't know whether to go about this by actually adding individual accessories or to just like add variations of characters. Just like a character that has particular themed colored outfit, you know, just like little spins on the characters. Or they could have like slight different accessories. Yeah, I'm wondering if it's worth it to like make a UI for like select a hat, you know, that would maybe only work for a particular character. You know, some characters might not have hats capable or available. You know, like this bear here with this cool Russian looking hat. You know, like maybe the bear would have a selection of hats that only work for the bear. Like I don't know if it would be possible to make like hats work for all characters because you know if you have a character that looks like this, like obviously he can't really wear a hat unless like you took his hood off. So it's kind of yeah. It makes me wonder like would it make sense to make like particular accessories for particular characters or just you know like different variations on that character, you know, like a Russian hat variation of a bear, you know. He zoomed in on me. You're famous. Trying to make this game go big. Not. I mean, I'm not really trying to do anything. I'm just having fun doing it. Part of me is a little bit not scared of making it go big, but like I haven't released it on Steam or iOS like on purpose, and that partly is to just kind of keep it maintainable. Um, a lot of you know I am probably like technically leaving money on the table right now, like not having it out on those other platforms, but it's like it's kind of like I'm considering Android to be like a really long soft launch, as they say. So it's just kind of like I can work easier if I don't have to worry about updating a ton of platforms and there's fewer bugs and things. So yeah, like maybe it'll go big at some point when it's out on those other platforms. Who knows? But I don't know. It's not really my goal necessarily because I do kind of like being able to you know focus on just working on the thing and not get completely saturated with. I'm sure you know that would be a lot more bug fixes and support requests and things like that. So, which maybe would mean I would need to hire people. I don't know. We'll see. I'm enjoying keeping it in a point where I can do it myself at the moment, along with you know all you folks, obviously like submitting little fixes and things on GitHub, which is super awesome of you. You're banned? Oh no. Yeah, if you got banned, shoot me a message or yeah, I try to unban people here sometimes. Um, so yeah, shoot me a message or the send info if you know how to do that or whatever. But yeah, try to shoot me a message on here. Sometimes people will do like the send info thing. So when I unban someone, there's a command called send info that you run, and that basically just like sends me info about your account. But if I'm not expecting it, like I don't know who that is, and I generally won't like just unban anyone who sends me a send info. So like if you talk to me on here, then I will be expecting you to do a send info. Yeah, this is an interesting topic. A free roam map for the game, or just like different styles like that, where like an open world thing or something, which would be kind of cool. But it also like the one downside of that is the constraint for the game right now is it still should work like I want it to work with multiple people playing in the same place. So the limitation that adds is you know if 8 people are playing on one TV, that means the entire map has to be visible like on that TV. So it means we can't have huge open world things because you can't you know at some point when the camera zooms out, if people are getting farther and farther apart, like at some point it becomes you can't even see the characters. Um, or we could introduce, you know, maybe an open world thing would work if we introduced rules like somehow to keep the characters together or something like that. But that's kind of the concern with like allowing open world things or arbitrary big maps is that you know then it wouldn't work in those cases. Or yeah, first person view. This comes up a lot, and the big limitation there is that most of these maps, if you open them up, if you actually look at the data or look at the files, they are totally hacked to like only work from a particular view. Like none of the backs are implement. There's most things don't even have textures on the back sides. It's just like it looks good from where the camera is roughly, and from anywhere else, it's not even implemented. So we would definitely there would have to be specific maps engineered for that for like any sort of first person thing. So it's not like a priority or something I'm thinking about right now, but just to throw that out there, yeah. Oh, you're back for a second. Yeah, see the FPS bomb squad came up again. We don't have like a GIF we can throw at people for that because roadmap questions always summons the roadmap seagull. There he is. Ha! But there's other questions that come up quite a bit too. I feel like FPS Bomb Squad it's up there on the list. But it's an interesting topic too, and it's interesting to know like why it wouldn't work super easily. I never even know like who is sending the roadmap seagull. He just shows up. Like I figure he's like self-aware at this point. He just knows when to show up. It's like when I was saying 10 minutes ago when I was talking about like the Fortnite lobby, and then like literally a half a second later there was that post of the Fortnite lobby. I was like, whoa, I have mental powers. Oh, the command roadmap. Okay. Were my ideas good or bad? Which ideas were those? There's been a lot of ideas flying around. So, oh, free roam map. I mean, I like the idea of a free roam map. It would just like we would have to add some support for it, or it would have to be like a mod or something where everyone kind of knows that they're getting away from like the standard gameplay type or something. But yeah, that would be cool, like a free roam map. Like I said, we would have to add support for that. There's certain things like in the engine with the rendering and stuff like that. It makes certain assumptions that like everything is being rendered in kind of a small area. So there's like one big shadow map, for instance, that kind of covers the whole map. And if we had like arbitrary big maps, we'd have to kind of be smarter about stuff like that, or repeating textures and things like that. Just designing assets for a huge open world are definitely different than like designing them for a small map that fits on a TV. Doing a dance while being thrown. But yeah, I'd love emotes of some sort. As I said, in squads mode, I would like to have emotes be the primary way that you communicate, and so that opens up like ideas for customizing those. So I'm curious. Someone was showing a cool demo the other week of like chat bubbles for talking, and that was just for like chat messages, like having them pop up over your character. But emotes popping up over your character, just little like angry emojis or things like that. Like that could be cool, or just little animations or dances or something like that. Like that would be fun. Send some photos of roadmap. Roadmap is right here if anyone needs it. The seagull can help you out. But some people have done, we've seen like infinite runners and things where they like hack it to where like the game is almost like open world, or it's basically scrolling. So it is technically possible now. It's just kind of like by sort of hacking the engine a bit. It's not like built in. So it could be cool to kind of make some of those things a bit more easy to do. New characters win. That would be another roadmap thing, I think. But the hope is for 1.8. I was like, are we going to get 2 roadmap seagulls in close proximity here? So many roadmap seagulls. I got to scroll back a ways to find stuff here. But yeah, dances would be fun. Like that'd be super cool to make those moddable. Because the characters, like that's the interesting thing about the characters. It's all physics based, so it's not like when a character's moving, it's not animated. I mean, it is animated in a way, in that like there's little points that their arms are trying to get to, and it's like springs and stuff like that, like causing them to like do their movement. So you could actually like animate those points, and then like that's actually what happens when like the celebration. It's basically just it's animating the point that their hand tries to get to, like just back and forth, like burp, 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 burp. And so then it causes the hand to like do this floppy thing. So it'd be cool to like allow people to design that stuff, like come up with some little dance routine or something by just moving those points around. But yeah, it makes me wonder, would there be a good way to like cause or to trigger emotes? Because I'm trying to keep the game to where basically the controls you need are a D-pad, so 4 direction buttons and the 4 action buttons. Like a lot of You know, a lot of people have a full keyboard, a lot of people have a controller that has more than those buttons, but I'd like to have everything be possible using just those 8, like literally 8 binary buttons. You know, left, right, up, down, A, B, X, Y. Um, so I'm curious. That's why, like for running, you know, you can generally, if you have a controller, you can use L or R for running, but you can also just hold down any button, and that's for the people that don't have L or R. You know, I'd like to have it at least work for those people. So I'm curious for things like emotes. Would there be something that we could, you know, like a combination of two of those things, or something that would work for those people to trigger an emote? Or maybe that would just be something where you just need a fancier controller. I don't know. Or yeah, for mobile players also, if you're playing on, yeah, the mobile version obviously just has the 4 on-screen buttons. And we could, I know that's a whole other topic. Like some people would like to be able to customize the on-screen controls to have like a dedicated run button, or you know, we could have a dedicated emote button or something like that. Um, but still, I would like the game to support, you know, like I said, like simple hardware controllers that only have those physical 8 buttons, you know, the D-pad and the 4 buttons. So I'm trying to stay within those constraints, like emotes or anything else, if it would be possible to trigger them that way. For Yeah, so if there'd be something like, yeah, like holding down a button while pressing another button or something like that. I just can't think of like what would be intuitive for doing like an emote, or like double tapping something. I don't know. I was gonna say like you hold, or just holding down a button. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, I do hope that will appear at some point as like a run button on an optional run button on the on-screen controls. Yeah, it'd be cool to. Yeah, this comes up when this topic comes up. It always, you know, leads to things like some people would like maybe a button off to the side for run. Some people might want one in the middle of the buttons, uh, or maybe both, or different buttons. I don't know. It'd be cool to. I'd love to, you know, make a little Python API where people could just come up with whatever like on-screen layout of buttons they wanted, or you know, we could skin the buttons with different looks or whatever. You know, you could have keep the default clay ones or go with some crazy techno ones or something like that. Or yeah, a toggled run button like that could be another thing. Some people might like that. So yeah, that's something on the to-do list. Is yeah, having some fun with the on-screen stuff. And also, now that we have this feature sets stuff, basically I can make a version of the game which strips out everything except like the on-screen controls, and that could be like the remote app, the new remote app, which would like share code with the game itself. Um, so I'd like to do that at some point. Is basically update the remote app to be based off the game engine, which would be kind of cool. If you've taken a look at the source code for the remote app, which is it's all up on GitHub, you should be able to find it, but it's the ugliest code ever. Like the remote app is literally, I think it's the first thing that I ever wrote on Android. So I had no idea what I was doing, and it's like slapped together. It's just like really ugly. Same thing on iOS. It was just like really ugly slapped together like experiment, and it worked, and so I like left it, but it is not terribly clean or like maintainable code. So that's why I'd like to, you know, replace it with something that's based off of the the actual game itself, which is more clean, maintainable code. Not perfect, but definitely better. Oh yeah, we have that solo elimination. Cool cat. But yeah, I was thinking like fun little things like allowing customizing the UI for you know, the on-screen buttons, Or yeah, just thinking about different bits of like the UI or things that we could allow people to customize that could be kind of fun. Like theming the whole UI could be cool, but that would be a lot of work. Maybe at some point. Right now, there's like most of the UI. There's a lot of like very hard coded things in there in terms of like the colors things draw as and stuff like that. So trying to make it so that we could like switch to completely different themes or something. While that would be awesome, like that would definitely take a lot of work to clean up that code. But I'm hopeful at some point that it could at least start in that direction, come up with like a UI v2, and then everything with UI v2 could kind of be built with that in mind, like a bit more like themability or just just being a cleaner API to use. So then if you're building a UI, you could choose to use the old one, which is BAU IV1, or you could use like BAU IV2. All right, now you're just trolling me, I assume. Easter Bunny holding a revolver. Oh yeah, there's this conversation models with transparent texture. I should check in on that. I haven't actually like taken a look at that. That could be cool. There we go. Yeah. I read that in like the Mario voice. Did anyone else do that? But yeah, something like buying emotes in the shop, like that would be awesome. That'll be so. That's basically my goal for 1.8 is to kind of get downloadable stuff, get like a shop or something where people can start to like where I can add things and people can download them, whatever. So just kind of getting an ecosystem in place. Like the shop that's in there right now is very hard coded. So like if I want to add something to the shop, it's kind of a lot of work, and I have to update everyone's copy of the game to see it. So that's no good. All right, see ya, Sock. What do you mean by keybinds? Yeah, keybinds for like chatting or various other things. I mean, you should be able to edit all the keys for gameplay. Oh yeah, yeah, that was a super awesome trailer. I loved all the yeah. Is this shared with everyone else? Like everyone should see this. This is yeah, like a league with all these custom shirts and just a very nicely done trailer too. So it's super cool to see. You understand keybinds. I don't know if I know what you mean by keybinds. Oh, function F. Oh, so just being able to like do like arbitrary things by pressing arbitrary keys, like assigning your own like Python code to that or something. Or would you want like a list of things that the keys could do, or like a UI to edit that stuff? That could be yeah, that could be interesting. Like coming up with a system to just like being able to do more arbitrary stuff with your keyboard. Yeah, that I mean, yeah, I'd have to give this some thought, like what would be a good way to implement this, but maybe it's something we could get in place easily. Right now, that a lot of that happens on like the C++ side, so we probably just need to maybe expose it to Python. Maybe something simple, just like if a key isn't used, or like when a key press happens, if the engine doesn't use it by default, it'll pass it to like a Python call or something, so then you can just do whatever you want with it. Or we could do something more structured where there's like a UI where you can add a keybind and then write some Python code. So I'm trying to think. Are there models that? I mean, I feel like there's models that do draw with transparent stuff. I guess there's like the image, like image nodes and things like that. I mean, that's definitely like in the engine. Like the engine can draw meshes with transparent textures on them, but it just might be like on the prop node. Or are there particular nodes that you would want that on? Yeah, something like this would be super cool, like key binding. Um, so I guess some of that we'd have to see. Like some of that would have to be like under the per character thing. So it would just be my, what, not advanced. I feel like every time I go to settings, I'm used to going to advanced. So maybe like expanding this UI to, for emotes and stuff. Because if it's stuff that's specific to the particular player, then yeah, it would probably be under like controls. It wouldn't be like a global thing. Because, you might have 2 or 3 different people playing on the local, on one copy of the game. So you'd have to know like, okay, this emote applies to this guy's character. So would it be, so you'd want to like bind F8 to like open the chat menu and then like enter a chat command? Or I thought you meant like you wanted it to like trigger a, some action on your character, like an emote or a dance or something like that. Because those would kind of be 2 different things. One of them would be more like general scriptability, and the other one would be more like particular to a character. So yeah, probably like the general one would probably be easier, where it's basically just like, hey, if you press F10, run this Python code, and then you could do kind of whatever you wanted. But then there's the question of like, is it better to just allow running any Python code, or is it better to just like give a set of things, exact things to do, like open chat window? Because Python code is like fully flexible, but it's kind of harder to figure out how to do what you want to do then. But maybe both. I don't know. We could have like a list of, or yeah, that's another thing. Like just have a list of like preset Python snippets. Like this, this Python snippet opens your chat window. This Python snippet prints something in it. So would it be, so you'd want to like bind F8 to like open the chat menu and then like enter a chat command? Or I thought you meant like you wanted it to like trigger a, some action on your character, like an emote or a dance or something like that. Because those would kind of be 2 different things. One of them would be more like general scriptability, and the other one would be more like particular to a character. At first, I was like, "Who's talking there?" And I was like, "Oh, that's me." So would it be? But yeah, that makes me wonder because ideally it'd be cool to be able to have commands that do things like that for like making your character fart or something without having to like open the menu and type it in there. Like it'd be cool to somehow send that command directly to the server. But I wonder, that might be too complicated or something, or that might encourage people to do like fancy stuff that would require a keyboard to play. And again, I want to like avoid, when possible, I want to avoid the game like splintering off into like, oh, to play this mini game you need a keyboard, or to play this mini game you need a VR headset or something like that. But yeah, it's a balance though. It's like it's cool to support those features. Like PC players who want to like bind cool stuff to their keyboard should be able to do that. Like I said, it's just like we want to be careful to not, to not have the game do something where suddenly a big chunk of the audience can't participate, or is not able to play a certain type of game at all or do some cool thing. But yeah, flexibility is good. I mean, that's why it's all Python and it's all exposed for everyone to kind of mess with, even if it's not always easy to mess with. But like, yeah, you should be able to do like anything at all you want. I'm just trying to like balance that, and like I want to encourage people to do anything, but I also kind of want to like steer it so that, like I said, so people don't wind up doing things that excludes part of the user base or something. Yeah, that's an awesome trophy model. Oh, it's just it's just TNT. That's funny. I love seeing like the little hacks and stuff people have done. You know, which is kind of cool. I was having this conversation with I think Mickey Rog is saying like when there are limitations, when you have like a small set of things that you can work with, then people come up with really creative uses for those things. It's like people push those things to the limit. So it's kind of fun to give, provide like a little sandbox with a limited set of things and then just see what people can do. That being said, I do hope to expand the sandbox at some point. Like it should be, you shouldn't have to be using TNT to make a trophy. Like we should have easier ways to do stuff like that. So hopefully, Scene V2 that'll start to kind of happen now that we're free to change things without breaking stuff. We can add new node types, things like that.
Hey now, you're an all-star.
Thank you.
Hey now, you're a bomb squad. Get your bombs on and go. Explode. Oh, bombs now. It's a bomb squad. The bomb
Everyone needs a
squad.
little all-star.
Bomb squads. People explode. Get them TNT and everything.
All right. Good night, nerdy OP. Oh yeah, yeah, totally. Sorry, I need to get caught up on chat too. I think I didn't respond to something before. Also, I've been yeah, I feel like ever since like this whole 1.7.20 thing, I've been super heads down, just trying to get this working and now get it fixed. And but now I'm feeling like oh now I really want to get 1.8 going. So I've definitely been in slightly antisocial heads down mode. So if I don't respond to something in chat, I apologize. Just remind me again later. Cool. Looking forward to yeah BSE 2.4. Yeah, can't wait to play it. As always, we'll have a go. I feel like you folks keep me inspired, like making stuff so fast and these like all these awesome mods and updates and whatever. It kind of helps keep me on track a little bit. Like, I need to get my stuff done. Yeah, exactly. Win-win. So it's good. I know I've gone into this topic before, but that is that's one challenge of kind of working for yourself. I think, or this sort of situation, like making a game or something, is like I want to like make everything perfect and spend infinite time on everything, but it's like it's at some point you need to ship something or you need to get something done or I know I've been talking about 2.0 for like years and I need to get there at some point. I can't just be so many projects will talk about like this mythical upcoming version that like they never arrive at because it's like there's always it's never perfect. So I don't want to like get caught in that trap any more than I already have. So it's but yeah, it's good to like find little cheats and hacks and stuff to like try to keep myself on track. So a little of those is maybe like teasing upcoming features or promising things or trying to set dates for release dates, though I feel like I can never do that because I always miss them. Though actually a good one right now though is as I mentioned like server costs. I'm running all these servers, which is basically right now for like private parties and things like that. So it's useful to have them up, and I'm learning a lot and I'm building a lot. But as I said, they're very expensive, so I definitely need to get the new like squads monetization stuff in there, so I'm like making enough money to pay for those servers like indefinitely. So like that's winding up being a good a good inspiration to keep working and keep focused. Yeah, and I'm happy to be doing office hours. I know it used to be there'd be like 4 months no one would know what I'm doing, and so it's probably yeah. This way I can at least reassure you all that I'm working all week. All right, well, it looks like we're almost at 2 hour mark. I mean, I guess a tiny bit less since technically we started a few minutes late. I always, not always, but I usually do. So, ooh, what do we have here? Penguin pile. What? I thought Kronk in the front there just looks like slightly annoyed. He's like, should I say something? That's awesome. Penguins are awesome. Ohio? So, yeah, poor guy got no space. All right, folks. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up for the day then and get back to coding. And thank you all for joining in. It's been fun. I remembered to record it, so all is well. So yeah, keep on keeping on. Holler if there's any bugs and whatnot. Like I said, hopefully 1.720 and 1.721 are in a decently stable space. But if you run into anything, please let me know because I want to fix it. Otherwise, I will keep on trucking towards 1.8. So cool. Anyway, I will talk to you all folks later. So peace out.